Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Fake Chats. I'm your host, Andrew Burnett, and today I have a very special friend with me. I got to meet her at NRB, and man, she was such a delight. Yasmin, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, to begin, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about growing up in Nazareth?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Yasmeen Mazzawi. I'm 27 years old. I'm a paramedic at Magenta Dome since I was 15 years old. It's been a while. MVA is my second home. I've been serving here in Nazareth and in the Galilee area. I was born in Nazareth, and it's amazing, just the to know that I live and I was born in a place where Jesus walked in those streets and was in the city. I think it's amazing. It's amazing feeling.
So, what was your childhood like as an Arab Christian growing up in Israel? What was that like for you?
I think it's very unique, especially as a young a woman, Christian, Arab living in Israel, this diverse country. In Israel we have Arabs and Jews, Muslims, Christians, Bedouins, Shirkis, and it's a very diverse country. I think this is amazing because everyone in our country, no matter from what background they come from, brings this uniqueness. And I think this is the beauty of Israel.
Wow. So, you work professionally in generative AI, but you also volunteer as a paramedic, as you mentioned, with Magen David Adom. How do you balance those two very different worlds?
Wow, this is a great question. To be honest, as I mentioned, I started volunteering at Magenta Vida Dom when I was 15 years old, since 2014. And, I think it's something that I love doing, and I always say that I will never, that I will stay here at Magen David Adom forever. And it's um, this kind of work that gives this satisfaction that you cannot get from anything else of saving lives. And that's true. I work in generative AI, and this is what I do as work. But at MDA, I volunteer, and I love doing these both things that I love. It's the satisfaction at Magen David Adom.
So, what really inspired you to become an EMT at just 15 years old?
I think it comes from home because I grew up on values of loving the other, of serving without even expecting for any return, of loving the other. As I mentioned, Israel is a very diverse, and at MDA as well, all the employees and colleagues and volunteers are very, very diverse as well. We work all together, Arabs and Jews, Christians and Muslims, and Bedouins and Jews all together in the same shift, in the same ambulance as a team, to save lives of people, no matter from which background they come from. We never ask the patient from, like, who are they. We never look at color, gender, race, or anything like that. And I think this is really the beauty of Magen David Adom, and these are the values I grew up on at home, and I met this at Magen David Adom. And my parents, to be honest, they encouraged me in the very beginning as a teenager. They came to me and they said, Yasmin, we want you to feel an integral part of the Israeli society in Israel. And as a young girl, I listened to my parents and I said, definitely, I would do that. I mean, I didn't think twice to do that. And that's how it all started.
So, as you said, your parents encouraged you to serve others. How much influence did your family have on the person you are today?
On the person I want today or I am today,
On the person you are today?
I am today. Um, they influenced me a lot because the values I grew up on are the values and the beliefs I do believe in today. As a Christian family, as values, as Israeli family, they did influence, definitely.
So, what was it like walking into Magen David Dome for the very first time as a teenager?
It's a pleasure to work and volunteer at Magen David Dome. It's very unique, it's very satisfying, it's very challenging as well because we, since I would say 2020, I guess, yeah, since 2020, I was very, very young. I was 21 years old, and I was a paramedic, and we've been having and going through so many challenges, COVID and wars, and it was very challenging situation here in Israel. And I think I learned a lot about myself, about people around me, about bridging gaps in the Israeli society, which I think that I really wanted and was very important for me to bridge the gap, starting in my society, in my community as an Arab. It taught me a lot.
So, you described MDA as becoming a second family to you. What makes that organization feel so unique?
I love that question. Um, I think the that everyone, I love this analogy because it's so true about Magen David Adom, that everyone in this organization is a pearl, and what connects between us are the values of loving one another, of serving, of not even expecting any return, of saving lives and having this one goal, working every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every second, to save lives. And we all share these values. And although we are all different, but we share the same values, and it's very unique. We have volunteers 15 years old and others like 50 and 60 years old. This is amazing.
So, NDA includes a diversity of races and backgrounds. Share with us what that diversity has taught you personally.
Um, Personally, it taught me that even though we are different, we can always find this. Um, I would say we can always speak the same language. Yeah.
So, in emergency situations, politics and differences disappear quickly. What does serving together in life and death moments reveal about humanity?
Wow. Like during, I can say that during the years, especially the last 6 years, and during these challenges, um, we learned a lot about humanity because we are diverse country, people from different backgrounds. We all are facing the same challenges. Christians, Jews, Arabs, like Muslims, Druze, Christians, we all face the same challenges. It's not like the Jews did face challenges and the Arabs not, and not the opposite. We all were and had the same challenges, and it taught us a lot about humanity, and especially at Magen David Adom, um, that we all stood one by the other. And when we came to emergency cases, and in our way to emergency cases, and when we had sirens and missile attacks and alarms, so we all stood one by the other. And it didn't hit only Arabs or only Jews. We were all in the same boat.
So, can you share a call or an emergency response that deeply impacted you personally?
Oh yeah, I will never forget an emergency case when we were on the way to the patient, and it was up in the north. I serve in the Galilee area, so it's in the northern part of Israel. And we had there was a missile attack, and there were sirens. And as a paramedic, I worry, and I work with the team, and the paramedic manages, all the emergency cases and the teams. So I was responsible not only on myself, but my teams, the drivers, the other teams that came to assist at the patient's house, and I had to worry about the patient and the family, and everyone was there. A safety first. In order to get to the patient, we have to make sure that we all are safe. So we had to stop on the side and lay on the ground and wait for a couple of minutes, and then make sure that it's safe to continue and then continue. And I think it's not the complexity of the emergency case here is the issue, but I think it's the complexity of the feelings I had at the same time, of that I need to worry for everyone's safety, and for myself and for the patient, and make sure that my family at home are okay as well, are in the shelters. So I think this I had to be very multitasking. That's what we do as paramedics and EMTs. We are very multitasking, but here it's even more complex.
So, what qualities do you think every great paramedic or first responder needs to have?
Compassion.
So, how has serving others changed you as a person over the years?
It changed me a lot, because also in my daily life, and not only when I'm in emergency cases in VA, I usually think of the people in front of me first, and then about myself. I carry a lot. I care a lot about the others first. Um, I have. mm, I see things differently today. I mean, when I have, for example, I will give you an example from work. Like, sometimes many people panic from things that, from my perspective, we should not panic. I mean, sometimes that we can, stand for a minute, take a breath, and think about, it reminds me with emergency cases. This is emergency. Sometimes at work, things are not like urgent, and it's more like it changed my perspective of life, I would say. And I turned to be very um, I think my beliefs are stronger, and throughout the volunteering work, prayers helped me a lot, and I think this part of me is much stronger.
So, during the Iron Swords War, you responded to rocket hit areas in northern Israel. What was going through your mind during those moments?
It's very dangerous. I was very afraid. I was definitely afraid, and I was thinking a lot about my family as well, because I had to care, and to manage everything happening with the teams and patients in the emergency case. But my family was always in my mind, and this is something that. I thought a lot about during these emergency cases, and my work at Magen David Dom, because I had to make sure that they all, like my parents were at work, my siblings at school, and I had to make sure that they are all in the shelters. And sometimes we didn't have time to get to shelters. 1 minute or 30 seconds, and in some places, it's like only a couple of seconds to get to the shelter. So it is very challenging. It was really, I was very afraid, but um, I don't know how to describe this, but I had this faith that gave me strength and gave me this positivity and this source of light that um, that gave me the strength. Definitely, yeah.
So you openly said that you were afraid sometimes. How did you push through that fear while continuing to serve?
Um, Faith. I always the things that I mentioned that thought a lot about my parents and my family, and I prayed a lot.
So, as you just said, you mentioned turning to your faith for strength. How important has your Christian faith been during difficult and chaotic moments?
Um, if I understood your question correctly, do you mean how faith helped me through these emergency cases?
Yeah.
Um, I think that faith gave me this light that I mentioned earlier, the source of light, that even through the darkest valley, I mean, there's this verse in the Bible that even through these very dark and challenging and hard and intense days and emergencies, there is light. And I also had to be the source of light for people around me. Some patient, lost family members and even colleagues. Many of our colleagues did um, unfortunately lose family members and friends and even friends of mine. So I had to be the source of light and I had to be strong for these people. So I think this is what helped me also through this time, that they need me at this time. I have to be strong. I have to be a source of light for them. I have to encourage them and to be there for my colleagues and friends.
So in 2020, you were chosen to light the torch on Israel Independence Day representing MDA. What did that honor mean to you and your family?
It meant a lot. I very appreciate that, and I'm very proud of that. And this is amazing, especially for me as an Israeli Arab young woman. For me, it was very amazing. Also, continues my story of bridging the gaps and instill the Holocaust remembrance in the Israeli and the Arab society in Israel, and bridge the gaps between Arabs and Jews, and to feel an integration or integrated part of the Israeli society. So for me, that was a great honor. I really appreciate that,
So
and for
what
my family as well.
so what message do you hope your life and service sends to the younger generations of today?
This is a great question. I would say be compassion. I suggest people in my age to be open to listen to other people's opinions, even if they are different of ours, to accept the person, no matter who he is or who she is, or who the person's background, to accept, to be willing to listen, um, and to love one another, because we believe that our God is loves us, loves each and every one of us, and have this faith. Um, yeah.
So, for our last question, after everything you've seen and experienced, what keeps you continuing to serve and to save lives?
um, I would say this satisfaction that I mentioned, that the only place I can feel and live this satisfaction is at MDA. The people at Magen David Adom, the great work the teams of Magen David Adom are doing, and the values I grew up on at home.
Well, Yasmin, thank you so much for your time. I encourage people if they want to find out more information, they can go to savinglivesinisrael.org. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. God bless you.